This is an NBC News special report. Launch America. Here's Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good afternoon. We're here to bring you what could be the dawn of a new era in space travel, the first launch of U.S. astronauts into space from American soil in nearly a decade, and the first ever by a private contractor. This will be the second attempt after a Wednesday launch was scrubbed due to bad weather in Florida. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is scheduled to lift off just moments from now from the Kennedy Space Center, carrying 2 astronauts to the International Space Station. President Trump has returned to Florida today to watch it happen. Tom Costello has been following all this and has more from the Kennedy Space Center on this truly historic day. Tom?
It is indeed. 2 American lives are on the line here. Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken are the 2 astronauts strapped into that SpaceX rocket behind me on the historic launch pad 39A, taking off at 3:22 Eastern Time. 9 Merlin rockets will ignite, lifting the Falcon 9 rocket up to the space station as they accelerate on 1.7 million pounds of thrust. This is a very big deal for all the reasons that you just outlined, and we're now about to go to SpaceX Mission Control. 45 seconds until the final liftoff. Important to note here, this is a SpaceX mission, a private company's mission with NASA astronauts on board. Mission control is outside of the Kennedy Space Center. It's actually in California. So far, it's been a very smooth countdown, despite the fact that we had bad weather on Wednesday, and we're now down to T-minus 30 seconds and counting here, Jose, as we listen into the final countdown with SpaceX Mission Control. A key word to listen for as we go into this final launch is that maximum Q, max Q, you will hear at 58 seconds into the launch, and that is when they have the maximum loads on the spacecraft. Here we go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal.
M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems are go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through Max Q.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for
17,000 miles per hour. Listen, this has been a spectacular liftoff so far. It really harkens back to the Apollo days with the thunder and the roar and the buildings here at the Kennedy Space Center rumbling. Watch that countdown clock at 2 minutes and 38 seconds. MECO, main engine cutoff. That's going to be a critical moment as we listen into SpaceX.
Astronauts into orbit. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
M1D throttle down.
We heard we're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have MECO.
MECO.
2 Alpha. Falcon stage separation confirmed. Copy 2 Alpha.
Critical moment there, Miko. Main engine cutoff from the first stage of the rocket now separating, allowing the second stage to continue along with the Dragon at 17,000 miles per hour, headed for the International Space Station. Jose, this could not have gone better. It has been absolutely picture perfect so far. They've got a 19-hour journey to the space station.
Unbelievable is the word that comes to mind, Tom Costello. Thank you very much. Joining us from Houston, astronaut Michael Fink. Michael, it seems like we've seen some of these images before, but it's all so different and new.
It is new. This is a new rocket to launch people on. We've been working with SpaceX for a long time, NASA, the Air Force. We count on the Falcon 9. We've still got second stage to get us into orbit. We're going to get to 17,500 miles an hour, 26,000 kilometers per hour, and it's exciting. Doug and Bob, they're in a surreal thing, just saying, I can't believe this is happening. And wow, the weather, right? So this is a great day, historic launch, and we're really happy so far. These guys will get to orbit, and then tomorrow they'll dock to the space station. They're going to be up for, they're going to be able to sleep in between time, take off their suits. It's going to be an interesting ride for them, and we're wishing them the best of luck.
It is indeed 250 miles up above Earth at International Space Station. And speaking about weather, Al Roker has been keeping a close eye on it. Al, you know, this had to be scrubbed one time before. Earlier today, it looked like it was touch and go, but seems like the weather held up.
It did, and just barely, Jose. I mean, the idea of course, the problems that they could have had. Take a look. You can see there are lightning strikes all around, but as we zoom in closely and then go to the live radar, you can see just to the west of Launch Pad 39A, we've got some thunderstorms. Well, look at this. It's basically, they need a 12-mile radius. They do not launch if lightning is observed within 12 miles. Well, that one lightning strike area is just about 14 miles away. Thunderstorm anvil clouds within 12 miles, they didn't have that. And the clouds containing moderate or heavy precipitation didn't have that. So weather cooperated. No worries about tomorrow because they are off and away, Jose.
Thank you, Al. And Tom Costello, what can we expect going forward now?
Docking with the International Space Station tomorrow morning. Again, it's a 19-hour journey. And here's what's really fascinating. They don't know how long this mission will last. It could be 1 to 4 months. That depends on how well this rocket shakes out, how well the spacecraft shakes out, how well the rocket performs, how well it docks with the International Space Station. But this is all part of the plan now to turn this part of NASA's mission, getting to low Earth orbit, turn that over to the private sector, like SpaceX, like Boeing, while NASA focuses on going long and deep. In other words, back to the moon and to Mars eventually. That could be 4 years away at the earliest, could be longer than that to get to the moon and then to Mars. But listen, that's the ultimate mission now of NASA. So to have this under its belt, this picture-perfect launch with a private company, SpaceX, performing so far right on the dot, and with 2 American lives on the line, this could not have gone better today.
Tom Costello, thank you very much. American astronauts now on their way to that International Space Station on this historic flight. We'll have full details tonight on NBC Nightly News, as well as complete coverage of the protests across the country following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis on Monday while in police custody. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart reporting. We'll return you now to NBC Sports coverage of the French Open. Again, we will have much more tonight on NBC Nightly News. Thank you for the privilege of your time.